Go on, everybody. Lennox here from Simple123 Trader. This is the weekly outlook for the major currencies, indices, and cryptos. And it is for the week of April 24th to April 29th. Hope everybody's doing well. All right, I'm just going to start off with the US dollar. I'm on the weekly time frame. And the overall look of the weekly of the US dollar is lots of strength to the upside. And we have broken through a major resistance area right in here. And we are just pushing with lots of strength to the upside. So for our Simple123 Trader members, this bodes well for plays on Aussie to the downside. As you can see, that's heading to the downside here on the weekly, and it would be the same on the daily and lower time frames. We're just looking for moves to the downside. Same thing would be for the euro, which is here. We'd be looking for moves on the weekly down and also on the daily and lower time frames, continued moves to the downside. Okay, so the week is shaping up for weakness in those currencies. Same thing would be for New Zealand. We have the New Zealand also very weak and moving to the downside. Now it'll be opposite. Okay, here's the Australian dollar down as well. Okay, and it would be a little opposite for the Canadian dollar. In this case, the Canadian dollar is showing weakness here on the daily. Let's see how it looks on the weekly. We're a bit more sideways, but it is showing weakness here on the Canadian dollar as well. So opportunities in those currencies there to the downside. Let's take a look at Japanese yen. It too is showing weakness. Okay, so all these are very weak and look to continue their weakness going into the week. A look at the British pound should be also weak, and you can see that is also very weak. So lots of opportunities to the downside for most of those currencies. All right, so let's take a look at Bitcoin, see how that one's doing. Bitcoin also showing much weakness on the weekly, so we would look for continued moves to the downside. We're inside of a large basically a large structure here that is sideways, and we're looking to push out of it at this point right now, and we should see continued weakness in Bitcoin as we go into the week. Okay, the word I wanted was a channel. So it's a big structure channel, and we're stuck inside of it, but breaking out to the downside at this point. Any moves to the upside, it's possible that there could be a bounce back to the upside, but any moves to the upside would portend further weakness as the week progresses. Okay, now let's take a look at gold, and it too is very weak. So major weaknesses in everything that we're looking at so far. So gold's sitting at a very important point right now, and looking again to continue its onslaughts to the downside. So breaking through this area here, the next level of support would be in this area, and you can see we have quite a drop to go. All right, so lots of weakness there. Let's take a look at crude oil. Also, lots of weakness there as well. So nothing pointing to the upside here so far. Everything is just weakness. So going into this week, we can expect lots of red. Let's take a look at so Bitcoin, that would be the same with Litecoin, things like that. All those will be pointing to the downside as well. So any of the coins right now are going to be pointing. So let's take a look at the US dollar, or sorry, the US S&P 500, and it too, let's go with the weekly, is looking very bleak and pointing to the downside. So lots of weakness in the indices as well. Maybe a continued follow-up from Friday and late in last week's session. Continued weakness. The Dow, same weakness to the downside. If we go to the weekly and look at it, it's also pointing to further declines. The technology group, U.S. technology group, let me make sure I switch that. Yes, also very weak and sitting at a very important point where it could continue and break these lows and further weakness into the week. And let's see, further to that, we would have the US 2000. That's the mid-cap stocks in the index, and also pointing to weakness, break of these levels here, and we're heading nowhere but down. So I'm not seeing anything that's looking positive in going into this week. So something's in the air, and we don't know what that news is going to be, but it's going to more than likely bring these markets down even further than they are. So keep your eyes on the US dollar for those who are playing the major currencies. Lots of weakness in those currencies going into this week. Profitable trading to everyone. I'm done now. Thank you.